Hi everyone, it's Kim. Thanks for joining me. As unbelievable as it is, Valentine's Day is going to be here in less than a month, and I need to get some cards done, but I don't have a lot as far as Valentine's supplies. I have hearts, and that's about it. So I decided I'm going to look to some of my favorite dies to help me come up with some different kinds of cards. And I'm going to start with Mickey and some of Mickey's mouse friends today. And we'll start with the Steamboat Willie duo from Spellbinders because we have both Mickey and Minnie, and we can dress them up for any occasion. So let me show you what I did with this first card. It's a heart-shaped card, very easy to make. And then on the inside, I have Mickey and Minnie. And if you wanted to swap Mickey and Minnie, you could do that. And Minnie could be giving Mickey a flower or candy or whatever. And I don't have a lot of Valentine's sentiments. I'm extremely limited. Basically, happy Valentine's Day. That's about it. A lot of my cards will go to family members or to friends. And at that point in time, I'll just dig through my sentiments that I have to find ones that I find appropriate. So let me tell you what I did use on this card. Obviously, on the inside, we've got Mickey and Minnie. And that's from the Steamboat Willie duo from Spellbinders. My card base is from Tim's die True Love, which is a colorized die. And I couldn't remember how big this heart die was. I was going to do something a little different, but this worked out great. I could still make the top of the box like it was the inside of a candy box, but filled it with something other than candy. And for my flowers, I used the flags and banners to make the little rosettes. I really like this die because the rosettes are flat, easy to mail. My stems and leaves are truly from my stash. I couldn't even tell you where those are from. So if you don't want to hand cut some stems and leaves, just rifle through your stash, see what you've got. Sending Hugs is from the 2022 Spellbinders Advent Calendar. So that one worked good. And then the hearts on the inside again are from this Thinlet die. And then what I'll do is I'll put a sentiment on the back, and I could write on the back because there's really not much space on the inside. But that will get us started looking at Mickey and Minnie. Let me show you another one where I use this die. And this time my outside is fairly simple because all the excitement's going to be on the inside. So you can see Mickey's hands or Minnie's hands throwing up some hearts there. And then on the inside, we've got all the hearts up in the air that they're throwing up into the air, I should say. And this is on the Arch pop-up die from Karen Burniston. On my Mickey and Minnie, one thing I did want to do, I just dressed them in whatever pink or red. I figured that's a great way to show that it's for Valentine's Day. And the other thing I did was I had some fun with their heads. So even though they have the body with the skirt and the body with the pants, I can flip the heads back and forth. So here's Mickey's body, but I used this head, but I just didn't put the eyelashes on it. And then for this, Minnie's body, but I've got Mickey's head with the eyelashes. So I love that I can flip those around and have them in different positions. And then you can move the head up or down, looking straight on. This time I put it so that their noses were tipped up towards the top, and it looks like they are looking up to what they're doing. The pop-up is from Karen Burniston, the Arch pop-up die. So very easy to create that. I did it in acetate, and I only used the one piece of the arch. And I'm going to flip it over. You could see how I have attached all my hearts. I used glue dots, which I love because then it's easy. If I wanted to carefully pull that off and reposition it, I could. When I made this, I just kind of taped Mickey and Minnie down and added the hearts one at a time so I could make sure that nothing got hung up. And I could successfully get those all on there without hanging up on their hands or their head, even though Mickey and Minnie have some popped up areas. And then for the hearts, I didn't want to go find 20 different heart dice to cut these out. I knew from Karen I had something with a bunch of hearts. And that the hearts are from the Heart Collage pop-up. So I've got several, I have 3 different sizes, and I could just sit and cut a bunch of hearts out at one time instead of cutting them out, from a bunch of different dies. For Mickey and Minnie, like their heads are popped up and their hands. And then I did use a piece of acetate to contain these dies. It is popped up here a little bit on the end, not a lot, but it does look like they're throwing them up to this arch a little better if I could kind of line them up. And then these hearts are falling down. So it really wasn't that hard. The arch, again, I just used the one piece. I did not use this like little side piece or the one in the back. I kept it very simple. And then there is another die. If I wanted to cover up this back side, I could do that. There's an add-on set that I could cut a piece out, say of a lightweight paper, white or whatever, and hide all that. But I don't think you see those glue dots come through very much. So on the outside, these are the same dots or the same hearts from the Heart Collage pop-up. Happy Valentine's Day. This is one of 2 Happy Valentine sets that I have. This one gets a workout every year. So from Kara and Happy Valentine's Day. It does have a shadow die. I did not use that on this card, but it does have a shadow die if you want to make it like pop more from your card base. And then I also wanted to use up some of the dies that I bought from the Scrapbook Expo last year. I found a lot of Mickey and Mickey Steamboat Willie dies there now that it's not copyrighted anymore. So this was from Tall Mouse. I looked online on their website and I really didn't see many of the mouse dies that I purchased there. So Scrapbook Expo starts up here pretty soon. Visit Tall Mouse and see what they have as far as Mickey and Minnie dies. These were all like scrapbooking dies, but this is where I got the hands. So I need to start using up those dies that I got at the Scrapbook Expo so I can justify getting those. So I do love this card. Love how that arch works. And again, this really wasn't that difficult because I just kept it very simple as far as just the one piece for the arch. Okay, another version of Mickey and Minnie looking up to the sky. Again, I played with their bodies, played with their heads, played with the arms this time, mixed them up. And if I want like the arms to do something different, I can cut it in the back and reposition the arms. So I've done that on several of them. This time they're looking up to see the Be Mine written in the sky there from the jet flying by. Totally different feeling here. Not like this big romantic red and pink card, except for the colors on their clothes. Really no red or pink. My background is again from Tim Holtz, and this is Cityscape Skyline. This is an older die. It's in the brown packaging, so we know it's much older. But if you have any kind of skyline, I know there's a lot of different skylines out there that would work, and I know I had a lot of planes that I could have picked from, but I just pulled this one out, and this is again Cityscape Commute. So I was afraid this would be too big, but I think it works. And then I just used a white gel pen on that. I did have a white, just a white pencil that I kind of wrote the letters in first, just so I'd have some confidence of having it lined up right. And then I used the gel pen over the white pencil just to make that a lot more visible on the skyline there. So again, a different kind of Valentine card, but I think it works. All right, so let's look at some of Mickey's mouse friends from Elizabeth Craft Design. So there is a set of little mouse and big mouse. We're going to start with the little mouse, and it comes with clothes. This is the basic mouse die, and there is a big mouse. We'll take a look at that in a minute. But here's the little mouse set. And let me show you what I did with this one, because there's a lot more add-on sets that have come out that I could not wait to play with. So here is my mouse card. And I'm going to pull this, a little pull tab here, and it slides her over. So the magnet is pulling on this metal heart here, and it pulls her over to him, and he can whisper sweet nothings into her ear, and I can pull her back and forth. So I thought this was kind of a cute take. Again, not it's sort of romantic, it's sweet, but not over the top. And I could play with some of my mouse dice. So the mice are from the Little Mouse set. Her clothes are in this set, and there is a add-on set for this that I couldn't wait to play with. This is a fairly new die called Construction Accessories. So this is the big mouse, but there's a few things for the little mouse. But really, what I want to show you is look at all those tools. And even if you're not into the mice, this might be a great set for just all of these tools. I mean, you could even use the, I don't know if their hat. I know that's not the right term for it, but you could use that separate and apart from one of the mice if you wanted. And really the vest, you could use that as well. Now, this overall vest is made for the big mouse, but I wanted to use the little mice on this. I didn't want the big mouse on here. So what I did do is this outfit, his overalls were just way too big for this guy's body. So I used the big mouse body, but kept the little mouse head, and it still works. And this is the little mouse arms. So I'm glad I played with that, because now if there's some outfit I want for the big mouse that's just too big for this little guy, I'll use the big mouse body with the little mouse head. It does work. But his tool belt here, some of the little tools, I needed a magnet, and I thought I'm going to find a horseshoe. Of course, I couldn't find a horseshoe until after I made the card. But if you have some kind of a smaller horseshoe, that would work. If not, I just pulled out some nested oval dies. So this is an ancient set, and I just used these two small ones because this was more of like a narrow set. Whatever you got will work. As long as you get the idea, hey, that's a magnet, it works. For my little slider arm, this is an old die from Elizabeth Craft called Pull Tabs. Super simple to use this, and there's two different widths of tabs, but very, very simple to do. And if you aren't sure, because I was like, I'm not sure how this one works, just get on YouTube, look up Elizabeth Craft Designs, and scroll down, and I found a video from Josette, I think it was, who showed how to use this pull tab. This one is super, super simple. And then the paper, just as an FYI, is from a Minnie paper pack. I don't know the name of it, but I found it at a scrapbook store. So it was a fairly, I think, recent collection. So if you're into that, just get online and Google Minnie papers and see what paper packs are out there. And then just finally, one last little thing. This was a scrap piece I had of an embossed paper, but I did dig out that die. It's the Foundry die from Sizzix and Tim Holtz, and there's also a mini one. So it's a smaller design, but it would work perfectly if you need kind of like a metal type of heart. That was perfect to emboss that with. So there's our first Little Mouse card. Another one from Elizabeth Craft. So this is, again, just using this mouse body. And I love this shoe, this big old shoe. This is just called Boot. Very simple to make this, just a few pieces. And my mouse can tuck in there. You can use it for the big mouse as well. And then here's a couple hearts that I had left over from Karen Berniston's Heart Collage pop-up die. And then this big box of chocolates is from one of Tim's dies. This is called Love Notes. So these were the side orders when some of his side orders came out. So it's a fairly good sized die compared to what's on the packaging. But perfect to hold on to for whoever you want to give this to. And again, this one was pretty quick to put together. One more mouse die from Elizabeth Craft. So this time I have the Minnie mouse, or the small mouse, I should say, and the large mouse on this one. And I wanted to use this scooter. So let me start with the scooter and the sidebar. I've been wanting to use this die because I think it is so cute, because you could really put any kind of animal, or even if you had like a person die on here, you could keep it with the sidecar or eliminate that and just use the scooter. And so I did that, and then I just tucked the little mouse behind the big mouse. I did not know exactly where to put all of these pieces for the scooter, so I did get online, YouTube, and Josette has on the Elizabeth Craft channel how to put the scooter together. So that was extremely helpful, made it a lot easier. Then I do have the big mouse. So my guy here is the big mouse. And I just went through his clothes. I used some other mouse dies, and I just kind of went through my stash to find something to fit him. I have the boots. Again, I don't remember where all I found these. 10 to 1, the boots are from that construction die that we just used. I'm going to guess they're from here. But his clothes, I just went through whatever mouse dies I had in this collection. And then the other thing I wanted to use, there's a beard and 3 mustaches. And I thought, I want to try to use those on this card. And I have the beard and a mustache. The beard is long. It comes down to here. So I tucked it behind the handlebars of the scooter because I didn't want it to cover all of this up. But I tried to dress him in some black, and he's got his goggles on. And then here's his sweetie, the passenger, who is the small mouse. Again, I just went through the various dies just to find something that I could dress her with. And she's got her little goggles on too, and her helmet. And then I will stamp a sentiment here when I figure out who I'm going to send this to. So this is a big card. I want to say it's like 5.5 by 6, something in that area, because the mice are large, and especially on that scooter. I definitely want to do one with the sidecar, but again, a different feel for a Halloween card. And then the Heart's Crosshatch is another die that I have from Karen. I do have a nested heart die set that I need to find out, but this was perfect with a decorative edge to add to the front of my card there. Okay, so that was my play with Elizabeth Crafts and her cards. I'm going to flip to some that I got at Scrapbook Expo. I did see a lot of mice cards, Mickey cards, Steampunk Willie cards, or dies, excuse me, this past year. So this one is from Scrappy Boy Stamps, and this I got at the Scrapbook Expo. Now, scrappyboy.com, they are online, so you can get on there. I did find the dies I'm going to show you on their website. When I first saw this at the show, I thought, oh, I'm going to make these guys at a drive-in movie. That's what it reminded me of. So that's what I did. And I just thought, what's one of my favorite romantic movies? Gone with the Wind. So I just got printed this got online and printed that off. And then I needed a movie screen. And another die that I got at Scrapbook Expo is this All in Create die. I love their dies because they're different. So I'm going to flip this over so you can see a little better. So this is like the black frame part, and this is the die I used to cut out the picture Gone with the Wind. And it's a large die, and they have several different styles of this. We've looked at the one that's like a negative, but I love this. And it's got a couple other pieces in here that I'll have to play with as well, but it makes a perfect movie screen for Mickey and Minnie. And this was actually a pretty simple, Mickey and Minnie are super simple, and the car is relatively easy to put together too, but again, a different style to consider for Valentine's Day. And then I just want to show you this because this is from Scrappy Boys as well. This is not a Valentine card per se, but I thought this was neat, and I need to, if I'm going to get these dies, I got to use them. But this is a Vintage Mouse mini album, again, from Scrappy Boys. This is online on their website, but it's a large die, and it makes this little mini album. So this is definitely Steampunk Willie because of the hat there, but, you don't have to put that hat on. And then I could make the cover, and I decided I'm going to just make Mickey. I could just use Mickey on his own. I didn't want to make him into like the cover of an album, and I could even just make his head and use his head on his own. So there's some options there for the gloves here. I will make a note of that. I had to take this big die, and then I just this cuts it all out in one piece. If I wanted white gloves, then I just put a piece of white paper down there and cut those out and trimmed them out and attached them. Very simple to do. Otherwise, the whole arm and the hand come out as black. But pretty simple to make this, and I don't know what I'll use it for yet. But I can add as many pages. I just use lightweight paper for the center, and then that way I could cut out several sheets at a time. But it makes it for a cute little album, whether you just use it like for a little notepad or you put pictures in here. Maybe you went to Disneyland or Disney World, or you're just giving this as a gift to somebody who likes Mickey and Minnie Mouse. So I just wanted to share that because, again, if I'm going to buy these dies at Scrapbook Expo, I got to use them. And I found Mickey and Minnie and Little Mouse and Big Mouse perfect to make some kind of different style of Valentine cards. They were fun to make. And now I've got some already started, so I'll be ready for the holiday here coming up in less than a month. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again in a future video.